Los Angeles Chargers suffered a tough loss on Monday Night Football, and their reward is they get to travel to Atlanta to take on my Atlanta Falcons in Week 13. My name's Tyler, here with my brother Ryan, and we're going to break down the Los Angeles Chargers Atlanta Falcons Week 13 matchup. But before we get into that, we do have a goal of trying to get to 6,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And so if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment. Let us know who you think will win this game and why. And Ryan, big game for the Chargers here. They fell just short against the Baltimore Ravens, gave up a couple of just big plays that ended up being the difference. And I also think, too, I'll kind of get into this here in a second. It's kind of going to be one of the issues for the Chargers team throughout the rest of the season because they got some big games coming up. But just their playmakers just weren't able to make plays while Ravens were able to do that. Going up here against my Falcons team who needed a bye, needed a big kind of check, especially, too, on the defensive side of the ball. How are we going to get a defensive line? If this was backyard football, I would just customize all these players to full potential and just go with it that way. But we can't do that. This is real life. So, Ryan, I want to throw it over to you. What do you think of the Chargers' performance tonight? What do you think both these teams have to do to come out victorious in Week 13 matchup?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Chargers started out strong, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And then as the game went on, you kind of just saw the wear and tear that this Ravens offense kind of provides puts on a defense. And so for me, I think that was just the way the cookie crumbles, as Yes Man would say, or not Yes Man, Bruce Almighty. And so that for me, it was just a physical loss to a better team. But I still think, and not to get into my predictions too early, this is still a tough team in the trenches. This is a good offensive line. This is a pretty good defensive line. They are a little bit banged up on the back end of this defense. And actually, I believe they're a little banged up on the defensive line too. Like, I don't think Khalil Mack played in this game, but correct me if I'm wrong down below. And so it's still a good Chargers team. And I think they're just going to be looking for a bounce back win here against your Atlanta Falcons. And you are right. The Falcons did need that break there. The big thing for me coming into this matchup is, did this pass rush schematically improve? Because obviously personnel-wise, they can't improve from the bye. But schematically, are they going to be able to dial up some pressure and confuse this offensive line and confuse Justin Herbert and be able to simulate pressure? Because it's going to be a long day for the Falcons if Justin Herbert has 3.5, 4 seconds to sit back there and throw the ball.
Well, I can say right now, I could probably speak for all the Atlanta Falcons fans that's out there. It's going to be a long offseason. This defensive line is the reason why we do not make do not make the playoffs, because we spent second, third, fourth, fifth, and seventh round pick. Was our fifth round pick? I'm trying to remember, but we spent a vast majority of our picks on the D-line. Braylon Trice towards ACL in the preseason. Nothing you can do about that. Zion Logue, seventh round pick, not even on the team anymore. Brandon Dorless hasn't even hit the field yet. And then Rook didn't play for a lot of the time.
He's hurt now, though, right?
He got banged up on. I need to see. I don't think they put him on IR, okay, but I could be wrong on that. Let me know. But that's just been the big difference just in a lot of our games. We got trounced by the Broncos in our Week 11 game. And the Broncos were just the overall better team. I was correct on that. Just I think that we were going to be outcoached, and we did. And so our offensive line in the trenches is okay, but we got bested by the Broncos, and obviously then too, as we talked about, the defensive line just nowhere to be seen whatsoever. And that's my concern going into this game is, as you mentioned, the Chargers do have a good offensive line. And honestly, actually, too, in some ways, that Broncos-Chargers team is kind of similar. They got a really good quarterback as well. You got a good head coach with a good system that's coming in. This team plays hard-nosed defense. The weapons are not spectacular, but they fit really well within the offensive system that they're being put in. And that's what kind of scares me about the Chargers. That's what the Chiefs, AFC West, AFC should be scared about with this Chargers team is now that they have a legitimate coach in Jim Harbaugh, if they can go out and get some weapons, and I think they even too have a lot of cap space going into 2025 as well. I need to go back and double check that.
I think they have some, but not a lot.
Yeah, Chargers could be a very popular destination to go to. Yep, $77.1 million as of when I checked on Halloween. on estimated cap space. So,
Okay.
but luckily for the Falcons as of right now, and even as we saw tonight, they just don't have the just their star power just wasn't able to keep up with the Baltimore Ravens star power. And one benefit we do have for the Falcons is offensively, we do have some star power. With Kirk Cousins leading the way, got Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Darnell Mooney are having a good season as well. So Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, I would put that receiver trio significantly above what they have at the Chargers. I would say significantly, not by much, but definitely absolutely enough as well. I think Justin Herbert makes up for any deficiencies in that receiving room as well.
Yeah.
Our offensive line has been playing well. It's going to be a tough matchup against the Chargers, but I think one thing too when we're talking about skill position players as well, our secondary I think should be able to lock down on Quinn Johnson, Ladd McConkey, and those guys and make it tough to throw. The issue is going to be though, can we go back and put pressure on Justin Herbert? Can we make him uncomfortable? What we saw tonight with the Ravens is they were able to provide a lot of good pressure on Justin Herbert, especially too late in the game. And that was definitely a much more passing down every single down, pin your ears back. So take that with a grain of salt. But still, they're able to have to make a move in the pocket as well, keep him contained on majority of plays, and make him have to make some tough throws. And then on top of that, too, when the throws did get to those receivers, Quinn Johnson, for example, they're just calling him out. It's very easy to do 15 minutes after the game ends, but he had some big time drops as well. Yeah. So just didn't step up, as I said. So that's why, to me, kind of coming to this game, we're coming off a bye. They're kind of coming off a short week, technically, because they played Monday night. Then they're going to have to fly out east. I'm going to go with the Falcons in this one. I think we're going to be well rested. I hope that we made the adjustments and we can provide some sort of pressure. J.K. Dobbins did leave the game today as well, so that's going to be a big loss for that team if he is not able to go. Just having a solid running back in the backfield, not there with you. And so it's going to be a tough matchup at home. I could absolutely see this also going the way that it was against Denver. I would be even more upset than it was for the Denver loss. The Denver loss I almost expected, but coming off a bye, you think that you'd make some adjustments. And so we have to wait and see. But I'm going to go with Atlanta here. I think it's going to be a lower scoring defensive game. I do think it's going to be a 23-16 Atlanta Falcons victory.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree on this one. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I just feel like they're going to be the better team in the trenches. You guys have struggled in that aspect on both sides of the ball. And also, too, I look at this first half team, like your first half team versus your second half. The Falcons the first half versus Falcons in the second half. It's two totally different teams for me. And I think that the Chargers can come in and really exploit this defensive line, give Herbert a lot of time to throw back there. And at that point, you guys have a really good secondary, but it's really hard to cover Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson, Will Dissly for 4.5 seconds. Yeah. And I think that they're not going to steamroll you guys, because I don't think that, like you said, Monday Night Football, short week on the road across the country. But this is a team that beat the Denver Broncos handily at their own game. The Denver Broncos beat you guys, and not to go on that chain, because that's how you could say some wild things. People do that every year in college football.
Yeah.
But I just think that they in the trenches are just a different caliber of team, and that's going to propel them past you guys in this one.
Yeah, and that's my big concern is if you're right in that category, and kind of as we saw too in Denver. Now, of course, it's kind of turned into a blowout, but when teams are able to pin their ears back against us, Kirk Cousins he's kind of think now, but the last of the pure pocket pass, no dual threat capabilities. Even too, you can make an argument even before Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles, but Rodgers or Stafford,
Joe Burrow, I think, is in that mold, but Joe Burrow is still a better athlete than any of those guys. But he's
still athletic. Just for example, he had the 47-yard rushing touchdown where he was, I wouldn't say he was outrunning guys, but he was moving pretty quick down the field.
I mean, it helps when there's no defenders on half the field.
100%. But Kirk Cousins wouldn't have been able to break away 47 yards like that.
No. He's also a 36-year-old quarterback.
No, I agree, but he's still even from his heyday though, he was still a pocket pat, not too much moving. You know, I like Ben Roethlisberger is like the perfect one. Like he's a statue inside that.
Yeah.
Inside that pocket.
Derek Carr is in that mold too, I think.
Yeah.
But Derek Carr's not that caliber quarterback.
Yeah. So
conversation for a different day.
But if Joey Bosa is able to come back, or not come back, is able to have a good game as well, if that defensive line is able to get after us, then and if they're able to scheme up some good stunts and get Kirk Cousins rattled as well, then it could be like that could be another thing that could really affect us, is because like Cousins needs a good pocket. All quarterbacks would want a good pocket, but like we can't even improvise or anything like that.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a fun one here in Atlanta, but let's go ahead. Let's wrap this video up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. That is the best way to help out the channel. While you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Will it be the Los Angeles Chargers? Will it be the Atlanta Falcons? Other than that, we'll see you guys next time.